1500 Goldwing needs a throttle cable. One of the worst motorcycles to work on. Let's dig into this. Where do you start? Remove all of this. This is already broken. Found him. Get rid of that panel. Get that off of there. What in the fuck? 10-4, good buddy. Better turn the music off or they're gonna knock my video right off. Take this cubby out. And this is my bike, by the way, so I'm not too overly careful with it. If this was somebody else's bike, I'd treat it a little nicer. This is not easy one-handed at all. Shit. We gotta get this knob off. Headlight adjustment knob has to come off to be able to get this pocket out without breaking things. Get that screw out without losing it. Screw it back in a couple turns. There, we'll just sit that down there. This one has to come off. This really sucks one-handed, let me tell you. Retrieve the screwdriver that got away again. Oh, for fuck's sake. Never get that back if it goes any deeper. Get these 4 screws, take this pocket out. These have to come off regardless. I think we can get away without pulling those. don't know what that means. It was on the bike when I bought it. It's from 97. Where's my screen at? Scarecrow, 1997. At Wingding. Either way, put all our parts in there. Minus the key. Move that. Now I'll take the seat off. This one has Allen bolts in it. I honestly don't know what goes in these OEM. 3 Allens. That one is a 13 mil hex head. Who knows where it's from? Keep in mind, I'm doing this one-handed, so. Sorry, that's a 12 mil. Duh. And I'm sure there will be plenty of people who comment, my way's better, I would have done it that way, I would have done it this way. Well, you're welcome to come over and work on my bikes for me while I work on other people's bikes, if you can do it better or faster from the other side of your keyboard. I might need 2 hands for this seat. This one's heavy. Yep, we're good. Oh, look at that. Maybe my next video will be some brake rebuilds on this guy. Seat's off. Have to take stereo off. These out, these 2 bolts. That bolt, reverse lever. So this will come out of the way far enough to get the airbox out. Might just pull this whole panel, it makes it easier. Pop those off. I forget what size Allen this is. I think it's a 6. Yep. If I'm botching this video, it's because the screen keeps turning off on the camera and I can't see what I'm recording. So I'm just winging it here. This is spring loaded, so it can be an asshole. Every time I work on this bike, more and more parts just randomly fall off of it. Socket and wrench. These you pretty well have to use a wrench on, whether it be open or box. Boxed, you're gonna scratch your paint up. Socket usually doesn't fit over these. And these bolts hold this whole bracket together, and this bracket will come off with these two bolts out. You at least have to loosen these off so this panel will flex enough to get your airbox out of there if you're not going to remove these. I usually just pull them off because they're not that much more work. So we'll take these nuts off. How dirty that is. It gets used and ridden. Or not, probably just sat around too long and collected a bunch of shit. Those two nuts. Sit those in the pile of mess up here. And this plastic is broken, but somehow it stays on. Usually it comes off at about 120. But I haven't lost it yet. Take this guy off, down to this side for the same bolt. Of course, it's going to fight the whole way. There we go. Put that right there. Have to come out. Pop them out without destroying them. Turn your bars. Pull the front out. Just like that. Same on this side. One's boogered up. This is why so many of these bikes have broken plastics. There it goes. Now we got to remove this whole piece without breaking these ears off. These do break off kind of easy if you get stupid with them. I lost my keys again. There they are. So you need the key. Now that those two are out, these are off. Open the gas door. There are plastic latches in here on both sides. Open the latches that way. Close your door, take your key out so you don't break it. Lift the panel off carefully. These latch in it, they're tucked in at the sides over here. And once you get this pulled back, turn your bars. Bring this over to the side and around your bars carefully, because you don't want to break these off. Then we have to get the wires stereo unplugged. I don't think I can do this one-handed. See if I can just mount my camera here. Here we go. Some of these are different. Some have a connector on this ground, some don't. The older ones I don't think do, and you have to take a screw out. Get the ground off, antenna cable. These really suck. Push up on the tab. It'll help with the screwdriver to pop that plug out, because it's 30-something years old and it's hard to get out of there. Push that one in, pop it out. Now this plug, the latch is on the top up here, and it's almost impossible to get your fingers in there, so I use a screwdriver. Push the tab down and pull. And now this whole section is off. Okay, now we've got the stereo out of the way. I'm going to get this part of the air box off. Pull the vacuum hose, pull this latch, pop that out, put it in your parts pile. You can get the air box out of here carefully without removing these side panels, but more than likely you're going to break something. And it's not much more work to pull the side panels. These have to come off really to get easier access to the throttle cable anyway. So you've already got them loose here. It moves. I'm going to take this part off, this screw out, these two screws out, and this panel should come off. Again, doing this without breaking half of the plastics is half of the battle. And all the bolts I take out of each side, I put in the cubbies that I took out. Someone else will probably do it differently, and that's fine. These pull off. This one, this panel here, now that this screw is out, there's a cap missing here. I don't have the cap for it on either one of my bikes. You pull out a little bit, this top has to come down. See the latch? It hooks up under, and then you lift this up and pull it straight back. And then this whole panel, lift it, pull it out, carefully wiggle it straight back. And then you have all the CB wires to unplug, or you can just carefully leave the panel hang there by the wires. It'll be fine. It's not gonna open up a black hole and destroy the earth if you leave it hang by the wires. And we'll do the other side the same way. That screw, I might just post this whole video with almost no editing. Take this screw out. Don't lose it. This guy, pull down, pops out, out and back. Same as the other side, lift up. I think this one, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure there's a screw behind this panel that's supposed to hold these in that most of these bikes don't have anymore. So if these don't come out easily, there is a screw back here, and you have to take this whole panel off to get to that one screw to remove this panel. That's why none of them have them anymore. This one apparently has it on this side, right there, but it's loose enough that it pops out. This side, like I said, this is my bike, so I don't care too much about it. If this was somebody else's bike, I would obviously take way better care of it than my own. Temperature sensor off the airbox for the IAT sensor. Throw the stereo harness out of the way. Now we'll get the airbox taken apart and out of here. Remove all these screws. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws. These are not the original screws. So somebody has probably already stripped the heads of these. By the way, this screwdriver is not a JIS. It's a snap-on. I don't know if you can see it. It's a Phillips diamond snap-on, and it's very close to JIS and works on the screws. If I'm going to keep working on Japanese bikes, I should probably buy a JIS screwdriver set. But this one works really well. Now we'll put all the airbox screws in that bin. This is not fun working one-handed either. I'm not a fan of this. I think what I'll end up doing is mounting a camera on top of my head or something goofy. Point of view cam with both hands free would be okay. So get these screws out. Don't drop these because you'll never get them back. More than likely. The other difficult part about a Goldwing, if you drop a screw down in the engine somewhere, it's pretty well gone unless you feel like tearing the rest of the bike apart to try to find it. So pull the airbox lid off, air filter. Now we're down to the airbox. There's a hose here. There's supposed to be a little baffle over top of this that's gone. The hose under here is almost impossible to get back on, but it is possible without pulling the right side fan. The easiest way to reach in there is pull the right side fan off, which requires removing the whole panel over here. Pull the fan out, then you can reach in there but it can be done with long needle nose pliers right through here. I'll show you when I reassemble it. What we have to do is take these two screws out. I don't know if you can see in there, it's awfully dark. It is kind of dark in there. There's two screws for the breather. And these screws do not exactly come out. They come unscrewed and then they are captured in the plastic air box. And they should stay in place. But don't always count on it. So we'll loosen these two off until they're backed all the way out of the threads. Push down on the breather a little bit and it moves. We're good. And there's 3 on each carburetor. 1, 2, 3 on each side. Same with these, they're captured in the air box. You can take them out, but way less headache if you just leave them stuck in the plastic. That one was loose. Just pull the air box off, then push intake hose out, push your breather down. We have a vacuum hose, well, it's more of a vent hose here, and there's one here, the thermostat switch or valve. And this is the hose I'm talking about. It goes here. Most Goldwing owners that work on their own know what this pain in the ass is. You can put a zip tie around that to help pull it up, whatever you have to do. Now we've got to get this throttle cable out because it's falling apart. It's up in here, it's frayed, and it's really hard to move. Lube doesn't help and it gets stuck all the way open. So pull the rubber back. We're going to loosen these jam nuts off and thread this stuff all the way in. Give us as much slop in the cable as we need. Let me find some wrenches. Good old hillbilly crescent wrench and a 10 mil. Back off the jam nut and then screw the cable all the way in. I should say the cable adjustment, and that's maxed out. It's as far as it goes. I don't know if we have any more on this side. I don't think so. That one's loose because I was already messing around with it. So then we'll screw the sleeve all the way into this one. This camera seems dark, but maybe it's just the screen. There, we got as much adjustment as we can take out. Oh, the fun part. I'm gonna grab a light. This camera seems a little dark in this stuff we're working on here. Old magnetic light, stick it on the gas tank. top cable is the pole cable. This is the one that's the issue, and I still can't see anything. So we're going to back off the jam nut. And it's not easy to get in here. See if I can sit the camera here and work on this. The jam nut's cracked loose. And to get that off of the cable completely, maybe. No, not completely. It'll just come down and out. Pull the throttle open. This is the absolute worst part of this. What we got to do is get the cable out of the throttle linkage on the carb. And I'm not sure that I can even show that, honestly. It's tight in here. I'm going to pull the throttle open. Find some way to jam it in place. Probably just like this. Yep, that'll work. Can we see that? Yeah. And we'll push the cable up. Pull this out of this clip up here, give me a little more room to work with. Up here. Or not. Now, you have to get, well, I guess we'll have to take it off of the bar end first. Not a problem. Whatever works. So I'm going to loosen this ring. Now the light's really screwing me up. And we've got to take this control assembly off. There are two screws in the bottom. One there. That screw's gone forever. Into the abyss of nothing. And there's a screw back here. Where can we see it? I managed to not lose that one. Pull the top. It's just continuously in the way the whole time you're trying to work on this shit. There's no good way to move it. I need a small screwdriver. Little guy. What I'm going to do is work the throttle cable out. Sorry if you can't see. Carefully, without destroying anything. Just like that. And this screw is out. Oh yeah. We're going to take this back apart and see if I can't unscrew this out of the housing. Because I can't quite get the carburetor end off without this end being loose and giving me some more slack in the cable at the bottom. So I guess we'll do it the hard way. There we go. Cable's out. Bend this out here. Cable's loose from that end. pull it through, pay attention to how it's routed. Now we got to get this end out of the carb. I don't know if you can see in there. Let me see if I can get it. Either way, if you're this far into a bike, you should probably already know how these come apart and how the cable goes into the carb linkage. There. I don't know how I managed to get the cable stuck behind the accelerator pump, but I just did. There we go. Pull the cable through. There. Old shitty cable's out. Now I'm going to take a break and put the new one back in. I'll be back. Well, that was a quick goddamn break, wasn't it? I changed some settings on the camera. We'll see the second half of this video how this works. This is a 360 cam, so not a great one to carry around and use one lens for a video like this, but that's what I have at the moment. Got my new cable, old cable. From Honda part number. Looks the same, of course. Always check before you put it in though, because you never know if somebody sends you the wrong part. And that is the part number for this particular GL 1500. It might be different for that one. Who knows? 88 and 89 are oddball years compared to the others. So let's get this piece of shit put in here. Toss that. So I'm going to try first and screw this end of the cable in. It didn't work too well taking it out, but we'll see if I can get it. And this is horrible one-handed. Just gotta get this in a handful of turns. Oh, for fuck's sake. I might need two hands to get this started. Yep. Hold on. I'm just gonna sit the camera down. And you can hang on a minute, you'll be fine. Okay, got it started. Screwed into the housing carefully without ripping everything apart. And the return cable came off, so the grip's coming out. Oh, that looks great. Well, it's good and lubed. This is just getting worse now. Alright, hang on. Setting the camera down again. I ain't doing all this shit. Okay, new cable is screwed into the controls. Toss it up there. Now I gotta get the pull cable back in, sorry, push cable back in that came out. I hope you all get motion sickness watching this video. I probably would. Nope, that's not gonna work. Probably gonna have to sit the camera down again for this one, but I got to get the what they call the push cable back in the throttle tube here. See what I can do with one hand. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Stare at the carburetors. Okay, that cable, return or push cable you call it, is back in. I'm going to leave the pull cable disconnected for now. That'll be about the last thing I'll do. And I'm going to try and loop this back in here like it was, the old one. Sneak that through. I probably just routed this different than how it was, but I don't think it was right in the first place. Somebody has worked on this bike and lost every screw and replaced it with some Chinese shit. Now I've got to get this in the throttle linkage down here. Get it started in the hole, keep a little tension on it, push the cable down through the slot, just like that. Then pull the wedge out, let the throttle go shut. Back the jam nut off, hook that in there, take the jam nut back down, cannot get a wrench in here square on this thing, so you just got to kind of fight with it. You don't really want to rotate the whole cable, you want to tighten the jam nut, not spin the cable and put it in a bind. This is stupid. And it's close enough now, it'll be fine. I can let the top of it rotate a little bit. That's tight. So they got that in place. Pull the cable up, tuck it back behind the bars here where it belongs. Tuck it under these, bend them back up. And we just got to get this end in. So I need to feed the cable up. Okay, we got this. The way I do these is I don't know, maybe different from how a lot of people do it, but it works. That's not the right screwdriver. Here's the one I want, the small guy. I am going to try to show this on camera, but I also need two hands. Roll through. Your adjustment's all the way slacked off on the cable still, so you can roll it forward. Get the end of it started in the throttle. Like that. No, it's not going to stay. Hold on, let me see what I can do here. Oops. Probably edit this part a little bit. Okay, got the camera kind of mounted. So what I do is push the end in, take your little screwdriver, get it under the cable, and pull up. And this will actually open the throttle on the carburetor a little bit. Roll it forward and let it go down the groove, and then now you got both cables in. Easy enough. Now I have to find that screw that disappeared for this assembly. This actually has a pin that locks it to the brake lever assembly, or the bar, I'm not even sure honestly. Somewhere in here it locks in place when you put the screws in, but there it's locked in, and it moves on Goldwings, and this wiggle drives me nuts because your throttle has slop because of that. So make sure this is in the right place. Put the back screw in. Snug it down. It's there. Now I have to find the other screw that I dropped. Down in here somewhere. Good luck with that. But this is really how it goes working on shit. I see a lot of videos where there's zero mistakes, or zero things dropped, or zero things lost. You don't ever drop tools. That's horse shit. And there's the screw. Right down here on this crusty ass engine. And that's actually from a coolant leak that I tore this whole bike apart to replace the coolant tube right here. Usually this O-ring fails, but the tube rotted through and was leaking. So back to what we're working on. Back to what we're fucking working on here. This throttle cable horse shit. We'll get this screw in, snug it down, snug up that ring nut, make sure the return ring nut's snugged. I got adjust the slop in the cable now. So I think the issue with the original cable is this was threaded out, and it actually caused the end of the cable to wear here, and then it ended up having a kink in it and it was sticking. So this is supposed to be ran all the way in on this end, and you make your adjustment with this end only, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm wrong. We're going to adjust this out. I've got a ways to go on that. That's a lot of free play. And some people ride bikes and the throttle is sloppy as hell like this, and I cannot stand that. I started on crotch rockets with quarter turn throttle, and there, now there's tension, and we got the roll off for the cruise control. Don't forget that on these bikes. So there's always going to be slop. There's this bullshit that Honda did a terrible job with. Then you get your roll off that turns off your cruise control. So I feel a little tension on the cable now, so I'm just going to turn it in just a hair. We don't want tension because it makes it drag. We don't want a whole lot of slop between the two cables either, or it's hard to control your throttle. If you look down there, I'm going to go a little bit tighter. A little bit more. If you pull this out too far and tension your cable, it will drag, and it will be difficult to turn, and the throttle will be sticky. It feels pretty good as you can get on one of these pieces of shit. I'll go with that. I can adjust it up later on. The cable may stretch being new now. And typically what I do is just barely snug this to keep it in place, but so I can loosen it by hand if I'm on the road and I feel like I need to adjust it without stopping and grabbing tools, until I'm happy with how the throttle feels anyway. So new cable's in. Let's not destroy this panel. And we just got to put this mess back together now. Should I do the video for that? I suppose I'll just keep going. Start with putting the airbox back in, and this awesome hose right here, because you can't pull this up. You can't get your hand in here to push this on the airbox. A lot of people will put a zip tie around it, let the tail of the zip tie come up here, and then you can pull on that. I found grabbing this with some long needle nose through here and stretching it up and starting it on the airbox and then push it on, and that works. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but you have to remember before you put your airbox on, there's a port here and a port here for this hose and this hose. Don't forget them. I don't think the 88 and 89 has this one, if I remember correctly. And this airbox is kind of warped out of shape, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's just an old Goldwing. We're not too concerned about everything being perfect on it. It doesn't matter. So what I do is I reach under here. I know you can't see anything. Where the fuck did my light go? There it is. I reach in here just like this. Or do I go under here? No, I go up here right on the top. And this is a breather hose, so it will stretch a little bit. And fuck this clamp. It doesn't do shit anyway. except get in the goddamn way. We're gonna stretch the hose up, and this asshole gets in the way. And all you gotta do is just get it started. The end of that nipple. Well, actually, its hose has a vacuum against it if you plug it off, but I'm not going to explain it. Then the fucking thing fell off. What an asshole. These air boxes are just a cocksucker. Maybe I'll go up under here. This part's getting clipped out, I can tell you that right now. You can carefully push that on and start it. Pull your pliers out. Get your air box put down in place. And there's something I do for that to help pull that hose on better. Is that's actually connected to the air tubes that go into the exhaust, which is these. And when it's idling or decel, you have vacuum on that hose. And I will start it up and plug this hose off, and then rev it up a couple times, and it makes a pretty high vacuum, and it actually sucks that hose the rest of the way on that nipple. And I've never had one come back off. So short of pulling the whole side of the bike off and taking the one cooling fan out to reach in there and push it on a little bit better, that works fine. Just going to make sure your breather's pulled up through. These two vacuum hoses, this one goes, it's actually supposed to go up here. This goes to the top. This one goes on the bottom of here. Just push it on. And there's this vacuum hose that goes on this corner. And is usually almost too short to go on the damn thing. So there's that. Okay, all the hoses are on. Try to seat the box down on the carbs a little better. Then we're going to make sure the screws all start straight, don't cross thread anything. I usually start with these two because this breather could be an asshole. Yep, not a problem. At this point, you should understand why shops don't work on these bikes anymore. They want nothing to do with them. Make sure these all start first, carefully. That one's crooked. Here it goes. Because if you have one that's crooked in here and jammed up, then you can't straighten it out if you have all the others tight and the airbox is holding the screw down in the bind. So start these 6, make sure they're all starting to thread in, and then go ahead and tighten them down. Don't go crazy, just snug them. Tight, but don't strip the threads tight. And don't split the plastic tight. Actually, these might be a shoulder bolt, so. Good and snug, or good and tight. German torque wrench, good and tight. 2 are snug. Okay, we got those 6, those 2, they're tight. That hose is on, that hose is on, this hose is on. Make sure there's nothing in the air filter that's going to fall into the carbs. Put it in the right way. And this air box is actually a little warped out of shape, so it's kind of a dickhead to work with. Air filter's in. The lid on. This vacuum hose will go to diaphragm up here. Don't forget to plug in your switch. Sorry, sensor. And the wire on that is also barely long enough to make the damn thing. Lid's on. Look for it being able to squeeze together flush. You don't want a big gap in it or your filter's not sitting in right. And we'll come over here, find all the screws. They put away neatly, and I just pour them all over the floor. I think this is one of them. One of these is an oddball. None of them are the right screw. And the fun part is getting these couple in without dropping them, or they're gone forever. Maybe I'll just put all the parts where I'm running screws in at 2 times speed and dropping the screwdriver 400 times. I'll do 1 screw. Do these one-handed, they suck. Should magnetize this screwdriver, make my life a little easier. Just snug on those. There's a steel sleeve in there, but you can crush that sleeve and split the air box open if you have, I'll call it gorilla strength, so I don't get banned from YouTube. I was gonna call it something else, but so just make sure, oh, that one's not going in. And there it goes. Make sure that you just snug these down. Don't over tighten them. Don't smash the sleeve. Don't drop your screwdriver for the 47th goddamn time. Snug them down. Don't over tighten them. You will crush that sleeve and split the air box open. You'll split the plastic right here, and then you have a crack, then you have an air leak, and you have dust on the top side is okay, but it's still, these bikes are very picky about any type of change in airflow. They will not run with the air box lid off. If you split the air box up here and it leaks air, it will run leaner than it's supposed to. And they already run lean enough on the stock jets with 10% ethanol in the gas now, because most of these, probably all of these 1500s were jetted for 100% gasoline. And they don't run that lean on E10 pump gas. It doesn't really hurt anything, but you certainly don't want to add to it with more air from anywhere. I'll put Put that last screw in, snug down, airbox lid's on. I'm going to put this guy on. This is where your last vacuum hose goes. Push it straight down. Make sure this rubber gasket seals and is in place. Snap it on. Put the goddamn hose on. Make sure it's not pinched down here anywhere. I believe it's supposed to sit right in that little groove, but I've seen them ordered under this way, over that way, whatever. As long as it's not getting smashed by something, that's fine. So throttle cable's changed. Throttle's nice and free now. It's not sticky anymore. Doesn't feel like it's moving a zipper on a leather hillbilly biker jacket. Now it's flooded. And I'm gonna stop this video here because I have to take these side panels off, and I'm gonna replace the turning lamps down there with LEDs. These side markers don't work anymore. The sockets have melted out of them. I'm gonna replace the sockets, put LEDs in there just because I have them. I'm gonna jumper the relays for the turning lamps so they're on all the time as running lamps with LEDs in them. You don't really want to do that with the original bulbs because they will melt the housing, and it also is rough on one of the relays in the box there and kills it. So if you're going to jumper those on a 97 and older, change them to LED. I believe an H3 bulb fits right in that socket easily. Simple conversion. But anyway, there's the throttle cable change. You can put it back together from here. I don't need to babysit the rest of this. And maybe I'll do some more videos. Like I said, I have this. I have to rebuild the rear brake caliper and put new pistons in, so maybe I'll do a video on rear brake caliper rebuild on this thing, because the pistons are rusty and pitted up, and with new pads it's fine. With worn pads, the pistons stick and the brake drags on the rear. And I'm also going to rebuild the front calipers and replace that rotor that's warped. So maybe I'll do some videos, maybe not. We'll see what happens.